I don't know if you can see this wreckage right here, but this is no joke. And so this is basically what you're looking at. This is Kentucky. Basically, it's showing like you're getting to see some of the towns that have been destroyed by the tornadoes. So I found that this was a real crucial article right here. You're gonna probably see another still photo that was just going through like a sort of like what the impact of climate change has been doing. So why climate change is likely to cause more devastating tornadoes. So this is the real deal. We are in a real crisis, y'all. So Ben Adler, he's a senior climate editor. So get ready for really crazy weather because of climate change. So recent tornadoes have ravaged the Midwestern US, demolishing buildings and killing at least 90 people. And that could change to even more than 90 people given what's about to happen. And so I don't think that we'll have seen at this scale ever Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, he said they haven't seen this type of scale of damage ever. And so he said the damage on this scale from tornadoes will almost certainly be seen again because the climate change. Yes, and so will likely it'll increase in the frequency of it and the severity of the tornadoes, according to climate scientists. And so while the the causal link between climate change and tornadoes is less well established than it is for other extreme weather events, such wildfires, hurricanes, climate change creates the conditions that are most conducive to the tornadoes. So look at this still photo. This is just crazy. And so this was residents of Bowling Green, Kentucky. And they are inspecting the damage right now. Okay, so this is what you see here. And it was the damage was done by a tornado that struck the area. This was December 11th, 2021. Look at how crazy and how chaotic this is. Do you see a whole street sign knocked to the ground? And so this is really scary. So the strongest statement that can probably be made about tornadoes and the climate change so far is that there really isn't a clear historical signal. And so that there is increasingly strong evidence that climate model simulations that the tornado producing environments may occur more frequently. And so that's the bad news about this. You will see more of this, but even worse. It will even get worse in the future, particularly in the wintertime. So Daniel Sweeney of UCLA, climate scientist, told Yahoo News. So the main reason for the relative uncertainty about the effect of climate change or tornadoes is the tornadoes are relatively uncommon globally and therefore not as well understood. So it is really difficult to get data because we do not have good records of tornadoes going back very far, Swain said. So unlike thermometers, the rain gauges, we don't have a long record of that. So moreover, Swain noted tornadoes are really sparse. So every weather station on Earth experiences some downpours and a heat wave or two every year. So average weather stations on the earth is never hit by a tornado in its entire existence. And so weather tornadoes are increasingly in frequency the way that the hurricanes and heat waves that remain unclear. And so many more tornadoes were recorded in the last 20 years than it had previously was in the 2 decades ago. But that may be largely due to the more tracking that they have, of course. So, nonetheless, Swain said, you can't approach it sort of indirectly by asking about atmospheric environments that are favorable to tornadoes development or severe tornado development. And so when you ask tornado scientists, they'll say that we know what these ingredients are that produce tornadoes so that we can look at those ingredients, how are those ingredients changing? And so look at this still photo, y'all, right here. Homes and businesses just destroyed and battered like matchsticks by the tornado. This was on a Saturday in Mayfield, Kentucky. And so it looks like something just went through there and just plowed through all of it and just flattened it. And so that's basically what the tornado did. It took away homes, it took away businesses, everything gone. And so whole towns are gone. That's how serious this stuff is. And so there are even evacuations from mudslides. If you look to my right, you'll see some places. This is like Thursday night in Orange County, possible mudslides. So they had evacuations in some areas, and nobody's saying much about it. It's like, bits and pieces, and people are going about their business, but this stuff is serious. It is coming to your city, your town. Somehow you're going to be impacted by some of this stuff. And so, if not later, sooner, more likely sooner. And so, you even have a declare of state of emergency that will remain in effect through January the 3rd, because she said there's frigid temperatures in Oregon. And so this was by Kate Brown. So this climate change is no joke. So here it says, in those environments that lead to tornadoes, that exactly the kind of environments that are becoming more prevalent because of the global warming. And so all tornadoes come from the thunderstorms, Swaney pointed out, that the thunderstorms are made more likely and more severe on average by warmer weather and higher rates of evaporation that it causes. So with each degree of warming, even every hot half degree of warming is surprisingly striking, even for relatively small amounts of warming. The thermodynamic environment becomes more favorable for tornadoes to happen, Swain says. So this is why these people were seeing it in such crazy. Do you hear what happens? That tornado just went through several different states, like boom, 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 just impacted, took away whole towns. We haven't heard of that in like I don't know when. And so that is crazy weather. And so open your eyes, just open your eyes. This climate change is real. And so the recent tornadoes are therefore connected to the unusual heat wave that has engulfed much of the country. So the particular severe tornadoes may become more common because of climate change in the southeastern United States in the winter. And so most robust increases in these tornado producing environments seem most likely to happen in what it used to be cooler times of the year, is what it says. So in the winter, historically, you didn't have a lot of heat and humidity. But so what seems to be happening, the most plausible connection to the climate change is that these cooler season months, you have a lot of warming going on and additional moisture in the atmosphere. And it is worth noting that immediately more of the tornadoes this week, there would be tons of high temperatures, or record high temperatures, and record high dew points levels in the atmosphere being set. And so the Gulf of Mexico is experiencing a record warming temperature for this time of the year. So there is a huge pool of unusual warm, wet water that is happening just to the south of the region of that experienced the anomalous tornadoes that we just experienced, that we just saw. And some people maybe don't realize, if you read the articles, like how could a tornado just be in all those different places at one time? It just like jumped from one state to the next state to the next, all the southern states and the midwestern states. So that would be most of them. And so Kentucky was hit hard, hit hard. Some places the whole roof just ripped off like a can, like a can opener opening a can. And some places just looked like something just plowed through towns and took them away. And so that is crazy weather. if I had ever heard of. So there's a huge pool, it says, usually warm water, just to the south of the region that experienced these anomalous tornadoes. So that would be very consistent with the main mechanism people have proposed as why climate change would influence these tornadoes if it did. And so for this reasoning, it bolstered by recent research, the study published last month in the academic journal of Earth's Future model the effects of warming and the creation of the convective environments that can lead to tornadoes. And tornadoes are no joke because when you see those things coming, it's like it could be a whole house in there, animals, livestock. It could be big boards, cars in there, buildings. You you can't survive that kind of stuff. Some people do, and they get thrown. They might be in something flying around and go way across somewhere, miles away. So it is dangerous. Not very many people survive stuff like that. And so the researchers found that each degree Celsius of average warming increases the frequency of connective environments like 5% to 20%, much larger changes in higher latitudes, especially in the northern hemisphere. And so experts caution, however, the direct links between tornadoes and climate change remain unproven. That's what they say. But echoing Swain's analysis, John T. Allen, he's a professor meteorologist at Central Michigan University, wrote in USA Today Opt-Peace, climate projections in the 21st century have suggested that the conditions are favorable to the development of severe storms that we're seeing actually that produce these tornadoes. It will increase over the North America and impact could be greatest in the winter and the fall time. So the meteorologist Harold Brook in the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration told BBC that while the increasingly common tornado clusters clearly implies that the patterns of the atmosphere have changed, that may be related to climate change. But we cannot make full conclusions, so they always want to leave that little tidbit for you. But we know where this is coming from. The main reason is climate change. One scientist compared climate change influence on tornadoes to the relationship between fog and car crashes, and so that's how that's basically how he compared it. And so you might see that, for an example, when it's foggy, there's more car crashes, of course. So get it? When you see this environment with climate change happening, then you're going to see more wacky weather like what we've been seeing, and weather that is really devastating towns and cities and places, and having to make people look for higher ground because of flooding or mudslides, or evacuate altogether or go and seek shelter. So you might see that, for example, like they said in a lot of these places. So it says that James Elsner, a professor of geography in the Florida State University, told The Hill that this is what you could experience. So you think about climate change as fog. And so we can't really say it caused the accident, but it contributed to it. So that's basically how he's trying to use that as the example or euphemism to what the impact of these tornadoes and climate change have. With the right type of atmosphere, that's when you see more of this type of crazy weather and deadly weather, which I might add. So I'm gonna leave it here so you can see this doesn't look good. Do you see this? Whole town just flattened by a tornado. Can you imagine people, cities, like people walking around schools? It could be schools, people's houses, businesses, maybe a post office, maybe a hospital, just flattened, just like that.